Have you ever wondered why you take medication regularly? Go for a walk every afternoon and carefully avoid certain foods, yet the number on the blood pressure monitor still creeps up day by day? The truth is, the culprit is not some lavish feast, but could be a food that looks extremely healthy, sitting quietly in your kitchen cabinet, silently adding burden to your heart every day. Hello, I'm Dr. Kevin Carter. Let's take care of your health so you can keep living life on your own terms. Quick check. If you're watching this for your health, just drop a 1 in the comments. According to the warning from the American Heart Association, the sodium hidden in familiar foods is the real danger. This is very similar to the concept of qi stagnation and blood stasis in Eastern medicine, where tiny, invisible blockages every day gradually clog the entire flow of life. Those sudden blood pressure spikes are actually like a faint warning bell ringing in the middle of the night when the body is already straining too hard. You know, your body is ringing those bells only to call for help. It is absolutely not betraying you. And let me show you. The first culprit may be sitting proudly on our breakfast plate every day. Look at your familiar breakfast plate. It could be a few slices of sizzling bacon in the pan, a small sausage, or simply a few slices of white bread with cold cuts eaten in a hurry. They look completely harmless, light, and appetizing. But in reality, those seemingly thin slices are the perfect hiding place for a huge amount of sodium along with refined starch. According to clinical mechanism analyses from the Mayo Clinic, when you consume this hidden salt day after day, the body is forced to retain a large amount of water in the blood to neutralize it. That excess water volume continuously creates pressure, squeezing the vessel walls. Imagine our blood vessels when young were soft and extremely flexible, but under the constant pressure of accumulated water and inflammation caused by blood sugar spikes from those slices of white bread, the vessel walls gradually lose their natural elasticity. Day by day, those blood vessels are squeezed dry and turn into rigid metal tubes. When blood has to struggle to pump through these narrow and stiff metal tubes, your heart has no choice but to strain and beat harder, pushing the blood pressure number on the monitor to keep rising. I know, when realizing this truth, many people will start sighing and blaming their eating habits over the years. But please listen to me. The hardening of the capillaries is the mechanical fault of time and unintentional habits. This is absolutely not your fault. To soothe the circulatory system, we do not need to plunge into harsh avoidance diets. Let's borrow a little philosophy from the long-living people in the Okinawa region of Japan. Their secret is extremely simple. Cherish the original form of food. They always prioritize putting into the body foods that still retain their original shape given by Mother Nature, rather than items that have gone through multiple industrial marinating or kneading processes. Switching to a fresh protein source or a portion of whole starch in the morning is the most practical way to return the smoothness that the blood vessels have always craved. But breakfast is only the starting point. When the sun rises high and you step into the kitchen to prepare lunch, there is a dish that sounds very healing and soothing. But inside that warm outer layer is hiding an enormous burden. Opening the lid of a can of steaming chicken soup or mushroom soup for lunch, we often carry the absolute belief that this is the gentlest food. Especially on days when the body feels sluggish, a bowl of hot soup feels like a comforting hug for the stomach. But behind that elegant flavor, one serving of canned soup has secretly dumped 700 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium into the body. If you add a convenient frozen meal tray, which is always stuffed with salt to mask the blandness after the freezing process, You have inadvertently far exceeded the safe limit for the entire long day. When this enormous amount of salt rushes into the circulatory system, the blood is forced to thicken. Imagine the pure life force nourishing the body now having to carry an extra load of excess minerals, turning into a thick, muddy stream that moves with extreme difficulty through every cell. Research from Western nephrology experts proves that the kidney's filtering membrane no longer has enough strength to clear the massive salt load as it did in youth. Looking through the lens of traditional Eastern medicine, this phenomenon is exactly the disruption of the water-fire balance. When kidney water, the source that cools the body, is drained by stagnation, it cannot restrain heart fire. Fire energy surges upward, burning the inner peace, manifesting as hot flashes, dizziness, and rapid heartbeat. That little healing from industrial food at this moment knocks down that fragile tranquility. You have spent your entire youth bustling in the kitchen, carefully saving every bowl of sweet soup for your loved ones. Now, when your joints are tired, reaching for a can of soup or a ready-made box is simply the desire for rest from a body that has given so much. That is a very human need. Your heart completely understands. And right now, it only hopes you will season love for yourself again with natural, light ingredients. After the bowl of soup, we often turn to a plate of green vegetables with the absolute belief in cleansing. But be careful with the glossy liquid poured on top, and that glossy, shimmering liquid is bottled salad dressing, a culprit that always makes everyone exclaim in surprise when I mention it. A plate of vibrant, fresh green vegetables has always been the symbol of absolute health. But hidden under that perfect outer layer, just 2 tablespoons of creamy dressing have secretly dumped up to 500 milligrams of sodium into the body, along with countless sugars and bad fats. And honestly, how many of us use only exactly 2 tablespoons of dressing for a large plate of vegetables? According to the warning from the National Institutes of Health in the United States, this empty calorie and invisible salt load is silently neutralizing all the benefits from your vegetable plate. When saturated fat and artificial sodium invade, the fragile capillary system is immediately squeezed. They are exactly like small branches bending under a thick, cold, and suffocating layer of snow in winter. Under the weight of that chemical snow layer, the heartbeat has to work many times harder to maintain life. If you are feeling lost because your longtime favorite food turns out to be the hidden culprit, please do not blame yourself. We have been deceived by those brightly labeled good for health packages in the supermarket due to the extremely sophisticated arrangement of the food industry. You have truly done very well with what you knew up until today. Instead of surrendering to industrial dressing bottles, we can completely apply the art of Eastern herbal therapy. A little pure olive oil, a few drops of fresh lemon, and a light sprinkle of warm black pepper. This natural essential oil source not only enhances the taste buds, but also soothes every deep capillary branch. Before we continue with other dishes, please take a second to hit the like button. This action helps the video reach other elderly people who are confused because their blood pressure is still high despite eating what seems healthy when the sunset gradually falls. Fatigue may lead you to open the lid of a convenient juice can and to enjoy it with a plate of pickled sour foods, a few slices of rich cheese sandwiched in soft white bread, is often the perfect choice to soothe an empty stomach. However, those small olives, pickled cucumbers, or cheese slices hide enormous amounts of sodium and saturated fat. Modern medicine proves this combination silently constricts the circulatory system. Imagine your capillary network like a thin silk sheet. The concentrated excess salt and fat pouring into the blood is just like hot candle wax droplets, continuously dripping, causing each silk fiber to shrink, harden, and lose its original smooth drape. At the same time, those neat slices of white bread attack from another direction. Refined starch creates sudden blood sugar spikes. These sugar spikes sneak into the blood, rubbing against the vessel walls like tiny shards of broken glass, continuously cutting inside and causing persistent inflammation. From the perspective of traditional medicine, the combination of fat, salt, and refined sugar is the root of spleen and stomach damp stagnation. When the spleen and stomach are blocked by industrial foods lacking natural vitality, it obstructs the pure flow of qi and blood. All the backed up pressure finally pushes upward into the chest, forcing the heart to strain under the load. Dear friend, as you enter the later years of life, the sensitivity of taste buds gradually fading is the natural law of creation. Your unconscious reach for strongly flavored, salty, sour foods or soft, creamy cheese is only to rekindle the joy of eating. That is the natural soothing instinct of a body craving deliciousness. Absolutely not because you are weak or have let go of willpower. At the end of the day, when we want to go out and treat ourselves to a more complete dinner, a new challenge quietly appears, and that challenge often begins when you step into a favorite restaurant. The soft, golden lighting, the buzzing laughter, and a plate of grilled fish that looks extremely light usually bring an absolute sense of reassurance. However, to make the dish irresistibly appealing, chefs always hide an enormous amount of salt inside. A single restaurant meal can sometimes dump into the body an amount of sodium equal to an entire day combined, easily sweeping away all your careful avoidance efforts from morning until now. Not stopping there, the table often comes with drinks that deceive the taste buds, such as sweet tea, bottled fruit juice, or a few glasses of wine. Western science has proven that liquid sugar and alcohol directly activate stress hormones and severely disrupt the kidney's ability to filter fluid. Imagine your circulatory system under the effect of alcohol and sugar immediately being squeezed tight, tense like guitar strings stretched to the limit, just waiting to snap after one wrong note. The pressure on the vessel walls at this moment is extremely harsh. From the perspective of traditional Eastern medicine, this tense state originates from a disturbed mind, causing qi and blood to lose their natural harmony. When feeling tired, empty, or stressed at the end of the day, we often tend to borrow a delicious meal or a bit of alcohol to soothe the soul. I completely understand this. Our use of food and a little alcohol to fill the emptiness or anxiety is a very natural psychological defense mechanism when the soul needs an invisible hug to chase away the day's burdens. Your body is actually only trying to seek comfort in the fastest way it knows. Instead of surrendering to food, try applying the Eastern art of calming the mind. Simply reduce the frequency of eating out from 3 times to 1 time per week. Slowly sip a warm cup of tea and breathe deeply, and you will feel your chest incredibly lightened. And right inside your own safe kitchen, when you turn on the stove yourself, there are still tiny thieves hiding behind the spice cabinet door. And those thieves are not unfamiliar. They are the glossy soy sauce bottle, convenient bone broth cubes, or dark-colored meat marinade jars. Many people are always confident because they never touch the table salt shaker, but inadvertently dump an enormous amount of sodium into the body from these industrial seasonings. Combined with the habit of nibbling on crispy cookies or a few salty snacks between meals, you are unconsciously creating a continuous salt intake frequency. Western medicine emphasizes that the circulatory system is not defeated by an occasional lavish feast, but it becomes exhausted from daily repeated habits. Imagine the expansion and contraction of the vessel walls like a gently swinging hammock. It always needs stopping points to gain momentum and balance. Snacking on salty foods scattered throughout the day causes that hammock to be constantly pushed, completely robbing the precious quiet time for blood pressure to ease and rest. Under the lens of traditional Eastern medicine, this phenomenon disrupts the principle of qi mechanism rising and falling. All things always need resting rhythms so qi and blood can settle and purify. When the stomach has to work non-stop to process complex seasonings, the energy that should be used to nourish the heart and vessels is scattered, creating an irritating stagnation that spreads throughout the body. I really understand this. Sometimes your reach for a salty snack is only to fill the empty time in quiet afternoons. Your taste buds are actually only obediently following the memories of old family reunion meals, absolutely not being casual. But this burden will become extremely harsh if that habit continues until the end of the day. A late, heavy, and salty dinner will rob the natural right to cool down blood pressure when you fall asleep. When the dinner tray has just been cleared, there is a golden time window where, if we are careless, all the day's cleansing efforts will vanish. That golden time window is the hours when everything sinks into darkness. A dinner eaten too late or carrying too much salty seasoning will directly rob the body of its natural right to cool down when you fall asleep. Western medicine calls this phenomenon the nocturnal blood vessel circadian rhythm, an extremely important automatic mechanism that helps blood pressure drop to recover. Imagine, sleep is the precious moment when your heart and lungs are allowed to retreat into quiet rooms after an exhausting day. Loading more strongly flavored food late at night is exactly like suddenly turning on blinding floodlights, forcing the circulatory system to stay awake for the night shift. That exhausting tension completely blocks the cell membrane regeneration process. Under the lens of Eastern philosophy, this rhythm follows the beautiful yin-yang law. Evening belongs to yin, the time when all things need to gather, quiet down, and relax. Adding impurities during this period causes qi and blood to surge backward, generating internal heat that disrupts the deep tranquility of the 6 fu and 5 zhang organs. This also explains why many people take blood pressure medication very regularly, but the numbers still do not budge. An excess sodium load flooding the blood will silently neutralize the medicine's potency. The medication can only exert its maximum healing power when it is supported by a clean habit foundation. Many times, your stomach occasionally growls in the middle of the night while tossing and turning. Please do not blame yourself. That stomach is only speaking up because it misses the familiar old rhythm. You have done nothing wrong. You are only patiently giving your body a little more time to relearn how to get used to lightness. Now, right at this moment, let's sit down together and look back at the entire journey of today. Take a sip of warm water. Do you feel your body relaxing more right now? Imagine our life like a quiet garden. For flowers and fruits to sprout, You cannot dump a whole bucket of water in the middle of the scorching noon sun, but need gentle watering at the right time and right amount according to each turn of the sun. Modern medicine calls this the power of consistency in rebuilding capillary elasticity. Because your blood pressure is not defeated after just one day of wrong eating, but it responds to the chain of repeated habits. Meanwhile, traditional Eastern medicine summarizes this rhythm through the 24-hour meridian biological clock. When we follow nature, the body will automatically know how to soothe itself. Let's walk together through that garden along the flow of time. In the morning, when dawn breaks, instead of waking the body with refined bread or salted meat, welcome the sunlight with a gentle portion of whole grain food. At noon, drizzle fresh, cool lemon on the green vegetable plate instead of bottled creamy dressing, and refuse those steaming cans of soup full of hidden sodium. When the afternoon light fades, cool the thirst with a glass of filtered water infused with a few slices of fresh fruit, staying away from the blood sugar storm from industrial juice. And when night comes, enjoy a light dinner at home so the body gently sinks into darkness in absolute purification. I know, hearing this route, you may feel a bit overwhelmed. But please remember this firmly. Perfection is an illusion. You absolutely do not need to change everything or eliminate all your favorite foods starting tomorrow. For the next week, I only hope you do one single thing. Observe. Keep awareness of which hidden food appears the most, without any judgment or self-blame. After that, choose exactly one smallest change to start. And every time you do something kind for your health, reward yourself with a small joy. Instead of bustling at the supermarket aisle on the weekend, take a leisurely drive through a quiet neighborhood on Sunday morning to admire the leaves changing color. You can also buy yourself a beautiful new ceramic mug to brew herbal tea, or simply settle into the armchair on the porch, play a familiar country music record on the turntable, and enjoy the cool breeze. You do not need to do everything perfectly on the first day. Just be a little kinder to yourself today than yesterday, and your heart will be extremely grateful. Protecting health when entering the later years of life has never been a fierce battle that drains energy. In reality, caring for blood pressure is like immersing yourself in a symphony, where everything needs deep listening and harmonious coordination. The beautiful intersection between modern science and Eastern philosophy has proven that our cells possess an incredibly miraculous self-regeneration ability at any age, as long as we know how to rely on the unity of body and mind. The correct order always begins with building a gentle lifestyle that follows nature. Next is the true, calm awareness of each small habit happening in the kitchen. And finally, the most profound transformative power comes from those extremely small changes you choose to make today. Every gentle beat in your chest is a living proof that life always favors and protects you. Cherish that. Of course, today's sharing has been distilled by me to help you feel more confident on the journey of understanding yourself. It does not replace advice or direct treatment regimens from your specialist doctor. You may want to keep this video for yourself, but if someone you care about is also silently struggling with abnormal blood pressure numbers, this information could really help them. I am Dr. Kevin Carter, wishing you a truly peaceful sleep and a heart that always stands strong. And make sure to watch this next episode. I've picked this one especially for you. Definitely watch. See you there.